Okay.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you're first. We're gonna read a little bit about Saint Nicholas. Today is his feast day. Today is the 6th of December. Saint Nicholas is our saint of the day, and Henrietta is going to read a little bit about him, and then I will, and then we'll do a prayer.
Yeah. So this shouldn't be too long, guys.
Okay.
Saint Nicholas of Myra was a 4th century bishop in the Catholic Church, just so you know, in what is today Turkey. He was famous for his generosity to the poor, protection of the wronged, and a zeal for orthodoxy, meaning he was very faithful to the faith. He was also a prolific miracle worker, most known for appearing to sailors caught in a storm at sea and raising 3 young boys from the dead. You'll find a rich resource of his life of miracles and good deeds at the Bishop of Myra, and then there'll be a link and we'll put that on. He's the patron saint of a great number of causes, many professions, many cities, many countries. Most notably, he is the patron of children. He was my daughter's. Always something amazing happened for her at Christmas, usually. Sailors, prisoners, and maidens seeking to marry. So he was Germany's, Switzerland, and the Netherlands have a custom of making him the secret giver of gifts to children on December 6th feast day. Oh, let me just say this. We went to a healing mass with an amazing priest. I don't know his name, in South Florida. If there's ever an opportunity for you to go to a healing mass, you should go. And he's the one that told my daughter that St. Nicholas was her patron saint. And she has Hildegard too. So that was before she had Hildegard. So she was small and she was so happy at that. Anyway, go to healing masses when you see them offered at your churches. There's a lot of amazing things go on. In the United States and in some countries, he is known as Santa Claus, who distributes gifts to children on Christmas Eve. His relics, his actual body, pieces of his relics, are still preserved in the Basilica of St. Nicholas in Italy. On his feast day, miraculous myrrh, MYRRH, is collected from his relics and sent all over the world. Continue reading about his popular traditions associated with his feast day, and that is St. Nicholas and your shoes at a St. Nicholas Day tradition. And we're going to put that link up on Jeanette's wall, and I'll share it online. And then there is a special prayer for him. And I'll say that when Jeanette is done giving us, we also found other things that we wanted to incorporate. So Jeanette's going to touch on those, and then we'll go back to the prayer. I'll say the prayer at the end, and then we will put up all those links for you. Go ahead, Jeanette.
First, I want to share with you something that was given to my mother when she had me.
Oh.
So I brought this to her when I was born, and it's been with me for 55 years.
Oh,
very, very, very dear to me. And my friends, especially Selva, if she's watching this, the best friend Selva, she remembers this guy, and she would say, Jeanette, he freaks me out at night. I think he comes to life, because she'd come over for sleepovers, and I'd always have him in the corner of my room, and she would say, I think he grows in the middle of the night and gets big. I'm like, oh, stop. Oh,
so my daughter had a lot of dolls, and one little girl came over and said, oh, they creep me out. And ever since then, my daughter didn't want all. I had beautiful porcelain dolls, and now she wanted me to get rid of them all because of this one little girl. Oh, I was so mad. Anyway.
Do you see it?
That's it? That's the thing? It's a Santa Claus. Turn around. Let me see. St. Nicholas
He's
Santa Claus.
he's very, very old.
Turn around. Let me see. I can tell.
He's very old.
Look
And
at that.
he's like worn out because I've been grabbing him from here forever. So
You need to put a little pom-pom on there.
He's all worn out and his beard is all faded. I have never really washed him or cleaned him because he's just so old. So that's And
where did she get that?
I don't know. I have to ask her. Somebody gave him to her when I was born, and I've had him with me ever since.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And but in Argentina, in different parts of the world, they call, in Germany, he's Kris Kringle. In France, he's Père Noël. In British, children call him Father Christmas. But in Argentina, we call him Papa Noel.
Oh,
Papa
Noel. Yeah.
Papa Noel.
Love it. But is that
God? And then we say, oh, Papa Noel me trajo, Santa Claus brought me Papa Noel.
Papa Noel is what you're saying, right?
Father Noel, Papa Noel.
Yeah. Papa Noel. Oh, I love it.
Papa Noel. That's in Argentina. It says here, he's got another name, It's an ancient one that goes back hundreds of years that you talked about. It's one of the first names people called him, Saint Nicholas. And you told about the stories, so I'm not going to go into those. But all of these stories remind us of how much we're loved and how happy we are when we give. The earliest stories we know were told about Saint Nicholas, the Bishop of Myra. Hundreds of years ago, Nicholas, and you talked about that, so I'm not going to read that. But then it said he studied hard, prayed often, and followed Jesus by helping the poor. The people of Myra loved Nicholas so much that when their old bishop died, they immediately elected Nicholas to replace him. He served them well for a time. Nicholas was loved for one reason. He loved God and God's people so much that he would do anything for them. Here is a story about Nicholas that has passed through many generations. There was a man living in Myra who was very, very poor. This man had no wife, but he had 3 grown daughters who lived with him. In those days, when a young woman got married, she had to bring money or property with her into the marriage. It's called a dowry. If a woman didn't have a dowry, she would never marry.
Oh, wow.
This man was so poor that he had no money for his daughter's dowries, and he didn't have enough money to support them either. He believed, only one choice: to sell his daughters into slavery. Nicholas heard about this terrible situation late one night. Nicholas crept to the man's house and threw something through the window. It was a bag of gold, enough to pay the dowry for his oldest daughter. The man was overjoyed, and his daughter was too. She married, but her father was still left with a problem, too. What about the 2 younger daughters? Sadly, he prepared to send them away. Nicholas returned one night and again threw a bag of gold through the window. The father rejoiced, but he wondered who was helping him and why. Of course, Nicholas didn't want the man to know. He knew that it's best to help others without letting them know where you're helping them.
That's right.
We help others in this way. We help because we truly want to, and not because people will praise us for it.
That's right.
But the father was determined. He had 1 daughter left and no money for a dowry. He certainly hoped he would be helped again, especially because he wanted to find out who was doing it. So he locked the window and watched out the door. Nick still wanted to help, but he didn't want to be seen. So in the back of the house, far from the father's sight, he dropped a bag of gold for the third daughter right down the chimney.
You know, I knew this story, and so I knew it. So I thought, well, everyone knows it. That's why I said, oh, let's do this one. But you're right. That's the one most people don't know. I thought everybody knew that story, but I guess they don't.
It says here, Nicholas. Oh, okay. Other stories are told about Nicholas. It said that God works through Nicholas's prayers to raise children from the dead, that you talked about. What else? Stories about Saint Nicholas spread from his home into Turkey up to Russia, where he is still a very popular saint. Through the centuries, people passed on stories of him across the most northern parts of Europe, then to Germany, France, and England, and finally to the United States. The children in every country gave Saint Nicholas a name in their own language, and ours is Santa Claus. Yeah. Christmas is a fun, exciting time, isn't it? It's fun because all the time we get to spend with our families. It's fun because we do a lot of celebrating. It's fun because we get to think, sing, and pray about Jesus, who was born into the world to save us. Christmas is also fun because we get to give. We can show our family and friends how much we love them by giving them special gifts that we make or buy. We give because we're thankful. We're thankful for friendship and love and for all the people who take care of us. We're thankful to God for giving us life. St. Nicholas was thankful too, and that's why at Christmas time we try to be like him. He was so grateful for the life God had given him that he just couldn't stop giving joy and hope to others, no matter how far he had to travel or how many roofs he had to climb.
And he's still doing it today.
Yes.
You know, at Christmas, everyone is so happy. It's called the most joyful time of the year. Yes. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
And every Christmas time there's special traditions. Yeah. Each family has Advent traditions of their own, including Advent wreaths, Advent calendars, even Jessie trees. I've always wanted to make a Jessie tree and never have. Maybe this is the year we can make a Jessie tree.
You know, the church we just had today, they make one, and then every year they give the children gifts from it. But because of COVID, they can't do it the way they used to. So they're trying. But the Knights of Columbus, amazing group, they're trying to help get toys. They're going to let the kids go into the thrift store and each pick 2 toys. So it's not as good. But the Jessie tree, unfortunately, this year, because of COVID and these restrictions, they can't do it. So if you can donate to your church, where whatever they're doing, they really need it this year. They really, really need it this year. So if you can, please do. And almost every church I know does a Jessie tree.
Yeah. And the common way of celebrating St. Nicholas Day is what we do for the Three Kings Day. You know, in Argentina, we always put our shoes out, and they put the shoes. That's something I grew up doing.
And you never found coal now, did you?
No.
Okay, then. I used to tease my kids. I tease my kids every year and put coal.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, were you naughty boys?
Yeah, but they do that. They put the shoes out on St. Nicholas Day. Today they would put the shoes out, and you would put little gold coins, little candy, something in the shoes. And also they would put socks. That's why the stockings, the hanging of stockings came in.
That's why I give Elizabeth every year for Christmas, I give her socks. And she's like, why are you always giving me socks for Christmas? I said, duh, St. Nicholas.
And the candy canes. The candy cane is representative of St. Nicholas Crozier. Morning of December 6th, break out a box of candy canes or use the ones left in the children's shoes and do this blessing. And there's a special blessing. I got to look that up.
Oh, I never heard that one. It was always just the shepherd's hook. I never heard of it as something to do with St. Nicholas.
Yeah, you do a special blessing. I have to find the blessing and post it.
Yes.
over them, and then you decorate the tree with the candy.
Right, and we do that today.
Yeah, you do it. Blessing. So yeah, that's just a little bit more about Saint Nicholas, and we know him instead of this picture, which is him all
I love that.
bishopy, which I love it, but we know him as Santa Claus.
The old-fashioned Santa. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And he has his bishop hat on. Do you notice?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the real Saint Nicholas. They've made it into a Santa hat, but that's his real one because
Yeah.
he has a mitre on because he was a Catholic bishop.
Amen.
And he was very he tried very hard to make sure heresies were not alive, which I really love that. So yeah.
We're ready for your prayer.
Okay, so this is a prayer to Saint Nicholas of Myra. O good Saint Nicholas, you who are the joy of the children, put in my heart a spirit of childhood, which the gospel speaks, and teach me to seed happiness around me. You whose feast prepares us for Christmas, open my faith to the mystery of God made man. You, good bishop and shepherd, help me to find my place in the church and inspire the church to be faithful to the gospel. O good Saint Nicholas, patron of children, sailors, and the helpless, watch over those who pray to Jesus, your Lord and theirs, as well as over those who humble themselves before you. Bring us all in reverence to the Holy Child of Bethlehem, where true joy and peace are found. Amen.
Amen.
I love that.
Yay.
Yes.
Happy St. Nicholas Day, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, God willing, for more prayer. Bye-bye.